Oh, baby. Everybody refreshed?
Dude.
3-day weekend?
So fresh, so clean.
This is the first 3-day weekend I think I've had since... Is it All-Star break?
I actually felt like oddly gluttonous by doing that.
Felt great, didn't it?
You came back worse?
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets Podcast. Let's go! Live from the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. Nice little 3-day weekend, and all kinds of things happened. So we're going to talk about them a little bit over the weekend, in the association, but also in our personal lives.
Oh,
probably a little bit less about that. And then the meat of today's show is going to be about internal improvement. We heard those words from Josh Kroenke himself last week. Internal improvement. Can the Nuggets count on that this year? Is that really the plan? How much do they need to rely on outside improvement? How much internal? We'll debate that. To help me with it, Harrison Wind.
My plan for next season, also internal improvement. I thought about it a lot this weekend, reflected a lot, got a lot of things I can get better at myself. So next year I will be hoping to improve internally as well.
Big off season for you, Wind.
It's big.
Big off season.
It's big.
You know, you're gonna have to add some weight.
Yeah. I don't think I'll be like making trades or any big signings or anything.
Yeah.
Just internal development.
I like it. You know what? It's a lesson for all of us. Over here, the man who's constantly making internal improvements, D-Line Co.
That's right, guys. I got to tell you, this weekend, I think that I healed enough to look back at the Nuggets. I think I officially turned the page.
Yeah.
I allowed myself to watch some basketball.
Did you really?
And
I'll bet you hated that.
And slept and slept and slept.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Are you coming back? Yeah, come on in. And guess joining the show, rounding it out.
Hey.
It's Brendan Vogt. Hey, what's up, everyone? We're talking about internal improvement.
We're talking about the Nuggets, moving through into next season and what we can all expect and what we can expect of ourselves.
Oh, that seems timely. I'm expecting a big year from everyone.
We all have to be just a little bit better. We're going to start with a little news roundup from the weekend. Are the Wolves cooked?
Oh, my God, dude.
What a weird weekend of Western Conference basketball. First, the Timberwolves make a few little adjustments.
Crush them.
Crush them by 40 points.
Dude, this sucks.
Yeah, around the association. There you go, Kel. And then, so you go like, okay, are the Wolves back in the series? Have they found something in this one to kind of give them some momentum? And then you go to game 4, and then the Thunder make their adjustment. Close game. Could have gone either direction.
Yeah, you could have.
But it did not. Instead, it is now a commanding 3-1 lead for the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, I guess you're hot to chomp. Hot to chomp?
Yeah, that's right. Hot to chomp.
You're hot to chomp.
That is not a phrase.
That is a phrase. You're hot to chomp right now.
Dude, I'm extremely hot to chomp. And I'll tell you, yes, the Wolves are cooked.
They're done.
The Wolves are cooked. Be it this game or next, the Wolves, my friends, are cooked. They're put up, in reality, will have put up no resistance to the Thunder.
Yeah.
It's just more to chew on in this offseason where we're focused on internal improvement. I don't know I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like, I'm going to watch the Thunder roll through the rest of the league, and I'd just be left with a what if? What if they use their substitution patterns better? What if
They should try a permanent sub next year. They should try it.
I'm with you, man. All of a sudden it's from like, wow, we're proud of that ending to like, man, they kind of should have won that series.
I'm telling you, like, I'm gonna be sleeping in a hyperbolic chamber filled with copium for an entire off season because I'm just like, it just feels like the Nuggets could have done something, and then we're gonna have to look at the success of another team as evidence of our own success. It's the worst place to be.
That is the worst place to be. That is honestly the stupid. It's like so lame. You don't even want to say it.
So lame. You're like, well, look how good
We
they
were
are.
the second
Yeah,
best team.
yeah.
We clearly
We
the second
almost
best
beat
team.
them.
That's why we beat
We're
them.
just making the meme where it's like, took the Thunder to 7 games,
Oh,
hang
the
the
banner.
banner.
Yeah, the banner goes.
We're
up.
making the meme
lame.
ourselves.
I know. We're just living off pure copium at this point. We
Yeah,
got
it is
nothing
copium.
left.
But can you believe they took them to 7 games? I mean, the Thunder defense is so good.
So good.
But
It's
this-
incredible. Anthony Edwards, what did he have last night?
Not a lot of points, but
16
not
points.
a lot of shots. This is one of the things they took the ball out of his hands.
Yep. It was honestly incredible, man. Like, that is such a good defense. I mean, they get to play where in a version of the NBA where fouls aren't called. So that's the thing they have going for them defensively. But I mean, they're physical, they're in your face, they're so smart, so quick, so fast. It was impressive last night.
I also feel like the Nuggets series made them better.
Yeah,
And they're-
Yeah, they wouldn't be this good if it wasn't for us.
No, this sucks. Actually, I kind of hate
Hang
it.
the banner.
I know. I jokingly think that's true, and I'm with Adam. I
so
think it
true.
sucks. Like,
It's totally
because
true.
I listened to the media sort of talking about it. You know, everyone's going out to the court to do their hits with their shows and stuff after the game now. That's a popular thing now. And it's just like, man, the conversation in the locker room is they feel like they got the playoff experience they did not have by weathering the Denver Nuggets in a 7-game series. And it's like, I did feel like once they got it, I'm like, oh, like how good does Case and Wallace look right now, dude?
Because he is good.
Because he is
great.
good, but also because they're all just like, oh, we can do this. Dude,
all
every
we-
single one of us can
All
do
we
this.
do is give rise to dynasties around these parts. We did it with the Warriors. I don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, well, you're the one that brought it up.
Why are we talking about this, man?
But here's the thing that I think, and this is what the discussion I wanted that gets it back to the Nuggets, because I think the way that the Thunder are winning is important here, and it is about, in my opinion, internal development. Because a lot of these guys are just guys that became good over time through a process. They hired Chip England, the greatest shooting coach in the NBA. He was with the Spurs for their dynasty run. And now he's over there with Oklahoma City. And it's like a lot of guys that, guys have talent in the NBA. They can do things. The one thing that everyone has to be able to do is shoot the three. So it's like, okay, we have a guy over here who's a good slasher. We have a guy over here who's a good on-ball defender. Here's a guy over here who can do this, that. But everyone has to be able to shoot at a baseline level.
Yeah.
And they have guys who are not known as being these great shooters who can shoot at least well enough to get the job done. So one, they have an enormous amount of depth with that. And then two, they just have speed everywhere. And lastly, and this is the one I really want to center this around, there was conversation during the Nuggets' first round series about whether the league has become a weak link league. Basketball has traditionally been your best player is the most important one. But is it shifting to where, yes, but it's about not having anybody that ruins the system. What they did to Anthony Edwards was they said, you know what? One guy knows how to create shots on that team consistently. Everyone else, they're not that good at it. So we're not going to let him go, and let's just see what happens. And you know what happens? They scored 126 points. That's quite a bit, the Wolves did. But it still worked to disrupt them out of their rhythm. And I just wonder if this is where basketball's heading, where every team is going to say, all right, put 3 guys on Jokić. Let's see what the Nuggets do now.
Yeah. I think it very well could be headed in that direction. And I mean, the other thing about the Thunder is like all these guys can play. Like all these guys can play in different lineups. They can play with SGA. They can play without SGA. They have like 3 big men that they can rotate in there. Kenrich Williams comes out of nowhere to play 12 minutes a game in this series.
Can't believe that works.
Your second ever my guy after
Kenrich. I
Jokić.
love
It was
Kenny
Jokić,
Russell.
then Kenrich Williams. I
Did he
think.
play a minute against the Nuggets of meaningful?
No.
No, Adam would have
because
talked about
they
it.
are so deep that what they can do is say, Aaron Wiggins, you're playing 18 minutes a game against the Nuggets. You're not playing at all this series.
Yeah.
Kenrich Williams, you're in.
Yeah.
It's just like these guys are just good. They're just really good players.
Because the Wolves don't have they have Gobert, so they can say, all right, we're going to throw you out there, and Gobert, they're not going to post Gobert up to take advantage of this mismatch. So now we have a versatility to
Right.
switch everything.
Right.
So they have all these different pieces, and it's
The
really,
versatility is crazy.
and that's why. And then they do have Jalen Williams, who has been up and down and throughout the playoffs,
was
but
great last night.
he's been more up lately.
Yeah.
And it's the whole idea of we can throw traps at Anthony Edwards at half court and get the ball out of his hands. What does Minnesota do? If you do that to Shea, well, we have another guy who's at least can elevate in this way. And this is where, again, we're just thinking about roster construction with Denver. And it's one of the reasons I don't think Denver's that far off. But it is the thing of this is the new NBA, man. It's all about adjustments. It's a more cerebral league. It's more of a coach's league than ever. And it's more about, does the coach have enough cards to play because the roster's versatile enough?
Yeah. I also think, thinking back to the many decisions Calvin Booth made and his many philosophies, I think he was right about you need young guys because they just have the energy, they have the juice, they have that spark to them. And like the Nuggets at times in the playoffs looked old. They looked like the older team, which they are. But, obviously these might not have been the right young guys. But just the youth that OKC has and just how poised those guys are is crazy.
See, yeah, but here's the problem is that when you're looking at, you're saying like, well, we should structure, or a team should structure themselves like OKC. It just means that they just hit on every player. Like we have as many players. It's just we don't have as many good ones. Like
or draft picks, right? I mean, that's
but the draft picks theoretically should be used for players that are good. It's
But
just
is it
tough.
a coincidence, though? This is my big thing. Is this happened with the Spurs where they always got it? I just don't think it's a coincidence that their guys hit.
Well, no, I mean they just have a really good GM.
I mean, yeah, they've stockpiled like useful pick after useful pick after useful pick.
They have picks and players.
They can get it wrong, which to your point, they've gotten a lot of these right. But like they could get it wrong and just reload. Like they're better, and this is a credit to them, of course, to the front office. They're better suited for this kind of like invest in the youth, invest in the bench, and then keep optionality around you. Like they have all the picks in the world to make that work.
And this is why, for me, is what has changed my thinking about the Nuggets and where they're headed. Because I think there's a lot of like, you got to trade. Can they get KD? Can they get this or that? And look, that is one path. But even if you got those guys, you're still going to have to be able to have this versatility behind them. Otherwise, teams will just overload and force it into Vlatko Čančar's hands. Like, you have to build both depth and...
Dude, if they sign KD after... If the
Nuggets?
Thunder, if the Thunder make a play and bring KD,
Well, they're not going to get KD.
can you imagine?
I mean, they might get worse.
They're trying to win, though, Dylan.
Well, I'm just saying, like he joins the 73 win Warriors, and then he joins it. My God,
yeah, it would be lame. But this it's why to me as I start thinking about, because a lot of this is like I go into the year, my default setting is you can't trust DaRon Holmes. You cannot go into next year trusting Julian Strawther.
Right,
and my updated take as I'm watching this is you can't just count on those guys.
Right.
But you also probably do need them. Yeah. So it's like you need them to hit, and you probably need to go and add 2 or 3 veteran pieces or just more established pieces. But it's not to replace those guys. It's to add to the cupboard so that you have this 10 or 11 people you can draw on to solve different problems, because every series will call for something just a little bit different. And Denver was close, even though they had a roster that didn't do any of that.
They weren't really able to solve that many problems.
They just happened to have a guy in there. And by the way,
they just like kept pushing the square peg into the round hole, and eventually they got it through, like in a couple games.
Because they have Jokić,
rammed it right through.
Because they have Jokić, and he's freaking amazing. And this is what sucks, because we'll never. This is the one where we're doing the copium. This is a true, absolutely copium. If you're a Thunder fan, clip this, post it on the internet. I don't care. It's copium, but it's also true. Look at what the Thunder are doing to every good player they're going up against. And then watch Jokić put up 28, 13, and 6.
I know it.
On 50% shooting, which was down for him. And you go, that's like a heroic effort against this team.
I will say somehow the consensus online reaction in Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals was that, wow, Jokić is really good.
He's really good, man.
Everyone circled back to go, you know what?
Bro,
How many times
this Jokić guy? Have you seen this guy?
So exhausting. Dude, it is hilarious how many revelations people have to have about
shuffle?
Jokić. Yeah. Granted, we did it ourselves, but it's like so long ago. Like, catch up.
But we also did get the people starting to chirp up, because Shea had a phenomenal game last game. I mean, he really made a bunch of really tough shots. 40 points, 9 rebounds, 10 assists. And you're already getting that's the best player in the NBA.
That did drive me nuts.
Get lost.
Man, just prepare yourself.
Mid-range is nice, though.
Wait, but I thought Jokić was clearly the best player in the NBA. But he's the MVP is below him.
Yeah. No, that was last week.
Oh, we have nothing.
That was last week.
We have nothing.
This is what happens to lose, boys.
Golly, man.
Those are our takes from just over the weekend. Thought we might as well get them out of the way. On the other side, though, now we are going to talk about internal improvement, because like it or not, Nuggets fans, it is going to be a big part of their building over the next year and beyond. You will Take it. You will like it. We're going to talk about what it would mean for the team to find internal improvement from each of the guys realistically next year.
If you guys need new floors, hit up Empire today. You can get $350 off when you use them. Empire today is the best bet for new floors because flooring is all they do. It's their sole focus. So they will give you the attention, the customer service, and the attention to detail that you need for a big project like your floors. It's a lot of money. Doing floors is a lot of time. It's a big commitment. So go with the pros. Go with Empire today. Don't go to a big box store. Don't even think about it. Don't even put it in your GPS for 1 second.
If it's a store that sells only boxes and you go in,
that would not be the right choice for floors. Yeah. With Empire today, you're going to get clear, upfront, all-inclusive pricing. You can schedule installation as soon as the next day. Schedule a free in-home estimate today. Some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners can receive a $350 discount when using the promo code DNVR. A $350 discount with the code DNVR. Restrictions apply. Visit EmpireToday.com/DNVR for full details.
How about Lucy, 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco-free. Lucy Breakers are nicotine pouches with an extra surprise, Eric. Each pouch holds a capsule that can be broken open to release extra flavor and hydration.
are they going to have they'll start releasing an Oops All Capsules, like Oops All Berries from Captain Crunch?
I don't know. We'll see. What I know for now is they have a bunch of different flavors and different numbers. They're strength numbers. So you can walk around going, what's your Lucy number, bro? Don't do that just for your own social currency and credit and your reputation at work. Don't do that. But if you are going to borrow from someone at work, ask the number first. That's another thing I have learned. Because, boy, they vary in strengths depending on what you get at Lucy. Level up your nicotine routine with Lucy. Go to lucy.co/DNVR and use promo code DNVR to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co and use code DNVR to get 20% off. This is the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical.
All right, we're back here, segment 2. Throw us a like if you're enjoying the show. Make sure you're subscribed.
Do it anyway. Even
if you hate the show, do it. I'm going to go ahead and let's go through the Nuggets roster here, and let's talk about meaningful internal improvement. I'm going to cross 4 guys off the list, and I don't know if you guys will all agree with me or not. I don't think Jokić is going to be meaningfully improved next year. Doesn't mean that he won't be better, but I'm just saying I don't know that we should.
He is.
I just don't know what it would be.
Like, there's not like a tier jump to make.
What if he's like scoring 30 points a night?
I mean, he kind of has already done that before.
But like, what if he is?
I just don't know that that's like what we're counting on next year is Jokić just going to raise his game.
We never count on it.
I also don't know if that's the key right now. Jokić's good enough, man. Like, Jokić can solve every problem. In the playoffs, if they're just going to stick 3 guys on him, like, what are we building towards? So, Jokić, I don't think Aaron Gordon does. He did improve his 3-point shot.
Yes.
I think he can adjust his game. But if we're counting on, like, but next year AG is going to carry us to 5 more wins, it's like, I don't think that's happening. I don't think it's happening with Michael Porter Jr.
Nope.
And I don't actually think it's happening with Jamal Murray. I think he can be more consistent, although we're done kind of holding our breath for it.
What are we doing?
What are we doing? But even if he is, I just don't think he's going to be like a meaningfully different player. He
will score 21 points a game at year's end.
Yeah.
That's going to be how it's
might
going to
not
work.
take quite as many threes as we would like, but
have some time off in the middle.
Can he carry the non-Jokić minutes though?
Not like, quite actually, but
the non-Jokić minutes.
What if we throw him out there with 4 bench guys?
Yeah,
should we do that?
So those 4 guys, and I'm not trying to. I do hope, and look, it is realistic to think that all of these guys can add something new to their game, but I just mean meaningfully different from this year. The only argument you could make for meaningful internal improvement from those 4 guys is it is a new coach, and I do wonder if Adelman, has ideas for how to use Michael Porter in a different role.
Collectively, if they're better.
Collectively, because it's like, you know what? Our style, we added to our style. Not changed it, but added to it in a way that we were leaving something on the table.
And I think he can, because a lot of the first reaction to them hiring David Adelman was like, they need fresh eyes.
Yeah.
They need a new voice. Like, this is, just a offshoot of Michael Malone. I think David Adelman's his own coach. Like, I think he's got a lot of very different ideas from Michael Malone. I think he sees the game very differently. I think just he has baked in philosophies that are polar opposite of Michael Malone in a lot of ways. So I'm expecting things to look meaningfully different next year. Just based on what I know about David Adelman, based on what people are saying, I think he's his own coach. And I would not look at this as just an extension of Michael Malone by any means.
I would agree. I think that's kind of what both Aaron Gordon and Josh Kroenke hinted at too when they said, hey, this guy hasn't gotten a training camp yet.
Right.
Like what David Adelman, that was that managerial job he just had was a cleanup job. Salvage what you can and get out of there with your heads held high. Now he gets a chance to put his fingerprints on the organization. And he crushed it. And he crushed it. But to your point,
he was unbelievable, honestly, looking back at it, I feel like.
But to your point, not necessarily informative on what is Adelman's vision, right? For the players on the roster, not just but what does player development mean? Who are you willing to play? How are you willing to use them? All those things Adam just described. We don't know that yet about Adelman. So I'm with Wynn that it's a bit assumptive to just say it's a retread.
Yeah, I don't think it is at all, honestly. And one of my things was, coming into the year, I felt from conversations with people that the assistants didn't necessarily feel like they had a strong voice, that there was like, I'm kind of turning in my reports and I do my thing, but it's not like I'm getting to contribute to the direction we're going. And that's not even a knock on Michael Malone. It's his style. He felt, I'm leading the way. And so I do think that means Adelman maybe wasn't like, it didn't get everything he wanted to implement, and probably not even a whole lot. So, okay, that's the internal improvement part from those guys. But then you talk about the rest of the roster. And let's start with Christian Braun. So he's the guy that's playing a lot. And I think he's the guy that at most feels like we know exactly what we get from him. But I actually think that Christian showed some things throughout the course of the season in small doses of actually having more to his skill set. Now, I don't think he's ever going to be like some people are like, he's going to be the first all-star. I don't see that. But I do see an offense where he's just trusted to handle the ball a little bit more in basic reads. And we saw it a little bit. I mean, he'd have a little sidestep through the legs, pull up in the mid-range and stuff like that. You don't want him overextending, but I actually think that there is some of that to his game where it's like, you know what, we just got to allow Christian to be a bit more aggressive in half court. Because in a playoffs, it might come down to, can he make a 3-on-2 decision? Because they're trapping Murray and Yoke.
Yeah, I mean, there's nobody that improved more dramatically last year than Christian Braun. He did things that none of us thought were possible of him. And he's now, for me, I look at him, I don't know where to place his empire floor. He can, I don't know, his finishing at the rim was like something I never thought possible. And he started to get really confident with his 3-point shot. I probably am I would imagine you guys think that can't necessarily be his thing that he does. I don't think you can ever really count on his 3-point shot, but I don't know, man. I just can't. He's just like another guy that I don't know what he can be, but I know that I'm betting on him.
I'm curious about, I think in Christian's, and by the way, the contract extension that I'm about to reference could be ongoing, right, with restricted free agency. So maybe it's not something that's solved quickly, but I think Christian did have a sort of reallocation of effort on the floor as a starter.
Totally.
That was about maybe trying to get in the $30 million conversation. And that's not to say that it was against winning. It's just, if you had one game to save your season, you'd say, I want Christian Braun to be Josh Hart, right? Not Giannis, I think, if that makes sense.
Yep.
Obviously, you take Giannis, you get my point. I think in the regular season across 82, it's, man, if I'm just running in transition, I can score 15 points per game and I can get paid and helped the team win, by the way. But then in the playoffs, you saw, I think in the playoffs, he finally became the point of attack defender we wanted him to be. Not a perfect one, but he was there. I thought, going for the 50-50 balls and stuff like that. But there was a half-court dynamic that reared his head, which is he's another one of these guys teams are not guarding.
Yes, in the playoffs. That's why it's different from he shot 40% from 3 this year. But it's
there are guys that you're like, he's a regular season shooter. He's not a playoff shooter.
Right.
Yes.
And that's the bucket CB is in right now.
Well, I would put it this way. CB made teams punish teams for leaving him open because he shot 40% this year, 39.5%.
Yeah.
They are almost all wide open. And in the playoffs, it's yes, but that might be your only offense. He might get 4 looks in the fourth quarter. And you have to be confident, not just that he can make those or whatever, but it's no, our whole offense comes down to it's just going to be him.
Well, he shot 5 threes a game in the playoffs.
5 is a lot.
5 a game. He only shot 3 a game in the regular season, and he shot 30% on those threes in the playoffs.
And I don't know how good of a 3-point shooter he will be, but that to me is so now we get into where can he actually improve. To me, number one is he has to be a better three-point shooter. He has a bit of a slow, very set shot. He gets into it slowly. And that's the sign of a guy who's not a great shooter. So it's like very mechanical, like, okay, my elbow's tucked, I get under it or whatever. Yep. This offseason, he has to become a little bit more confident of a shooter. He has to be a guy who lets it fly next year. Not in that he's taking a bunch, but just that it's not. I still felt like there were times this year where he's second-guessing whether or not he should be shooting or not. Next year, it has to be a, hey, man, you'll have some like 1 for 8 games. You just have to. Mike Porter has it. So you have to have it.
You have to have it.
You can't have too many of them.
I think CB is going to be a guy throughout his career who just like steadily improves his shot until he just gets to the point where like you don't improve anymore. You get to like 40, 41% or something, and you just stay at that level. I mean, he was at 40 in the regular season last year. I think maybe he takes even a little bit of a jump next season because he just works that hard. He's always in the gym. But the hesitancy, you're totally right. Like he still had that at times this year, even in the regular season. It's like you're too good of a player, you're too good of a shooter to be hesitant to shoot open threes.
But what would we predict him to be next year? How good of a shooter? How much
I think
internal improvement?
he's really
is
going to turn into
the
TJ
jump he
McConnell.
took from last year to this year, I think he takes from this year to next year.
As a shooter,
He shot 38.5% from three last year, 39 points. I think he takes the same jump next year.
But the volume, though, is the point, right? Because, I mean, he took 224, which is like per minute actually less than last year. And the volume has to go up. It has to be quicker release. So in there, I think he will see a small improvement. And I also think, this is one of my theories, I think a lot of guys were nervous about missing shots because they could get yanked. And I think he got over that because he became above it. But I still think there was lingering parts of that. And I just think, I'm curious if next year that goes away for him. If it's like he plays a little bit more free, is a little bit more shoot from the hip.
yeah, and I mean, look, we'll see too. Like again, the contract stuff, maybe it affects some of this to some. Right?
That's true. You needed to shoot 39% to get the deal.
To get right versus if he just has the deal, is it game to game, whatever you need to win? I got you, but I think he can become a meaningfully better shooter. I don't think Christian has this endless well of like skill or talent. You know, he came in as like a hard hat player.
He has so much want to.
Yeah, but because of that, I also think on that same principle, you can bank on some improvement. Like Christian's is a guy who's going to want to get better and work to get better.
That's the craziest part about him is that he, like, I really just thought he was just a tryhard.
Right. That's kind of.
But like his finishing was like it was.
That's a
probably
skill.
the best on the
skill.
team.
Yeah, it's a real skill.
I couldn't really square the two. And it doesn't look particularly skillful either. It just is the most effective finishing on the entire squad. It's crazy.
So I actually think he is more skilled than I thought, but I also agree with you that he's not going to be like too saucy. But you know what? This new NBA, man, you don't need it. Austin Rivers had a good take the other day on his show where he was talking about guys like your ability to like play with the ball and do stuff. It's that you have to watch the new NBA. Unless you're a star, you don't need that. Can you make a straight line drive? And this is what I'm talking about with Christian, where I think there's untapped potential in him. So shooting is number one. I think he'll make a modest improvement there, but he'll probably still be a guy that you're a little nervous in the playoffs about the zero sum of it all, of him just making them. But two, I think he can be a guy that you allow to bring the ball up more, which we need to free Jamal Murray up in the playoffs, and also a guy who can attack one-on-one better than he does this year. Because he has shown a little bit of it. Not that you're giving it to him in a 5-on-5 half-court set, but that when teams trap Jamal and you swing it to him, is he a guy that you can count on now? Oh, Cason Wallace just rotated over. Well, guess what? You're giving up 30, 40 pounds. Can he just get around him to draw the next defender, and now it's a wide-open Michael Porter three?
I swear, he really honestly just needs to become the next McConnell, TJ McConnell. Like that.
That's a point guard, though.
What's that?
He's a point guard, though.
Well,
He's
I know,
an
but
elite passer.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like that skill set, he can shoot the three. He can be a tryhard. I feel like CB needs to add a mid range to his game a little bit because I don't know that his 3-point shot will ever be that great. But I do like the ability for him to either cut or stop and pop, and like it just seems like there's a lot of opportunity for mid range shots that this team isn't using.
I think he needs to just improve his handle.
That's what I was going to say. It's handled to me.
Because there were, I know they were going against great defenses, great on-ball defenders, but he got spooked a couple times just picking up his dribble, like not really sure where to go with it, specifically against the Thunder. And, I mean, he's a two-guard. Like, he's a shooting guard. He should have a better handle, I feel like, than he does.
Functional. It's never going to be crossovers.
Right.
It's just going to be like he's good at
He's just got to have more confidence in it. But the good news is that's something you can work on literally by yourself.
I think so too. I don't think we're going to see a physical improvement from him. He's already a top specimen for.
He
like,
did
his
get a
skill set.
haircut.
He did. So what do you think of it, by the way?
I love it.
Interesting.
Really?
He got rid of the boys cut.
You don't like that? He is such a little boys cut kind of guy, though.
That's the
He
problem.
looks a little
He's
meaner though with
He
this
does
buzz.
look more menacing.
Yeah, he's in a man's league with a boys cut. We don't need that.
All right.
Do you
know
think
what?
he
You might be
keeps
onto
it
something.
for the season?
I hope
Or
so.
is this just a summer thing?
It looks so much better. He's got to keep it.
All
Gotta
right.
keep it.
Hey, we got a new edgier Braun. We won't talk about his contract today. We'll probably get to that some point this week because that's a big talking point. He might price himself out. The Nuggets control it. They could always risk it and go into next year. But you obviously
so
like to lock
disheartening.
your guys up, and he might be worth a lot of money.
It's so disheartening.
But we'll get to that at another time. We're just talking about interior improvements for the moment. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, Peyton Watson. This one might have less consensus. Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. We're going to fight it out.
Are you guys looking for banking that plays at your pace, whether you're tailgating, grabbing halftime snacks, or catching the game from the couch? First Bank is in your corner. With their secure, easy-to-use mobile banking app, you can check your balance, split the tab for stadium nachos. Those sound good. Stay on top of your money anytime, anywhere. It's
I
like
haven't
having
eaten today.
a financial
Would you have stayed at
MVP
nachos?
in your pocket.
Right now, I would go.
Here's the play that pays. You could earn $300 when you open a new First Bank checking account. You can use it to score tickets to the Nuggets, to the Avs, to the Rockies, or whatever keeps your game day going strong. First Bank makes managing your money feel like a win. No games, just solid tools to help you stay in control, all right from your phone. Ready to take your banking game to the next level? Go to efirstbank.com/bonus. efirstbank.com/bonus. Certain restrictions and requirements apply. Member FDIC.
Had a little game night with some friends because I'm old now, but we still wanted to have some fun,
Sure.
Get some adult beverages. I brought some Miller Lights to the crib because I knew
Always a good choice.
always a good choice, and it's light and they're easy to drink. They taste good, and people tend to swap stories over Miller Lights. If you head out on Colfax to any of the wonderful bars, including this one, and you enjoy some Miller Lights, chances are you're going to make some new stories. You know what I mean?
For sure.
It's great for story time. It's great for making stories. It's great for watching the Nuggets. It's great for watching the Nuggets win. Great for watching the Nuggets lose. That's what we do here at the DNVR bar.
Too soon.
Oh, that's right. It's 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces. So yeah, I didn't realize till I turned 30 what was the hype about light beers. They matter. They're necessary.
Oh, man, they matter.
They're necessary, and that's why I go to Miller Lite. Great taste, 96 calories. Go to MillerLite.com/DNVR to find delivery options near you. Or you can pick up some Miller Lite pretty much anywhere that sells beer. You've seen it. It's Miller Lite. Celebrate responsibly. Miller Brewing Company, Milwaukee, Wisconsin. 96 calories and 3.2 carbs per 12 ounces.
All right, we're back here, segment 3. Let's move on to Peyton Watson now. So Peyton Watson, also up for contract extension, unlike Christian Braun. And maybe there's a little discount to be had there on his behalf as one takeaway from sort of his slower development under the Malone regime. I think number one area of improvement for me, and this is the easiest one, it's strength. I think Peyton Watson's biggest shortcoming in his first 3 seasons in the NBA is that he doesn't look that different than when he was drafted. But one summer of true dedication, some guys just never bulk up and look big.
Sure.
I think he's a little bit of that because he's a little bit of a skinny guy, you know.
He's not KD though.
But he's not KD. I think that he can come back next year meaningfully stronger. And I think a lot of his issues are actually downstream of that, including finishing. But let's just start from strength.
Well,
I think this could be a big offseason.
Strength can help you finishing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It can help you with rebounding. It can help you defensively also. And I mean, the way we're trending, they need Peyton Watson to level up all facets of his game. But I mean, I'm with you. It's going to be his 4th year in the league, 3rd year with the Nuggets pretty much. This is definitely time. And I think building up his body strength wise is a great place to start. He definitely has to get stronger. I'm kind of curious, what position he's going to play more of next year with DaRon Holmes coming back into this thing. Is he going to play more 3 maybe? He played a lot of 4 this year in the last couple of years, but finishing is an area he definitely needs to take a step in. And I feel like if he was stronger, some of those layups that he goes up for and he gets the ball stripped or, deflected or something, he holds on to a couple more of those.
And even in his drives, though, even on offense, like sometimes he'll get
bumped off his line a little bit.
Yeah, the little bit of the MPJ where you're like, that dislodged the ball from you? Like, be stronger.
Yeah, I think people would be so willing to buy some of the defense stuff if he could finish at the rim.
Yes.
I think it would. Like, I mean,
it's the loudest thing in the world.
It is. It's one of the least palatable weaknesses,
It's
like
so-
from a fan perspective.
It's true, because,
just like,
you're right.
especially because the whole thing is turn defense into offense, right? So he'll make this unbelievable recovery play.
Yeah.
And then he's on the break and you're just going, well, hang on. Wait, not
Reset
you.
the offense,
Yeah, wait,
reset.
hang on. Every time, right? So that's like, someone in there said he needs to stop settling for the corner three. I actually disagree. Like David Adelman said it in the playoffs. If they're guarding Jokić like this, you need to be able to take and make the corner three. In the regular season, from just the corners, Peyton Watson had a good season. In the playoffs, that fell off a cliff. So, yeah, man, like, if you're getting on the floor next year in the playoffs, we can talk about all this development that matters. Chances are the look you're getting, the corner three, got to be able to hit it. But also these, whatever it takes to get better in transition, if it's strength, that checks out with me. If maybe this is just a deficiency, but he's got to get better in that area, and then you can start seeing some of the utility.
I also think his 3-point shooting. So we go back to Game 6 of the series. He's 1 of 1. Game 7, 1 of 1. Game 1,
He hit
1 of
some
1.
big
Game 2, 1 of
shots.
He did
1.
way bigger
Game
shots
3,
than you
2 of
expect.
3.
But also miss him.
So like he actually had, because to him it's not like he's getting a ton of these.
No,
he's getting
no.
1 or 2. And if
Yeah.
you had 5 straight games where you made them all, it's like, hey, that's not
I
bad.
did not hate a P-Watt corner three. Like, as far as outcomes went, I was like, look, I'll see. This might go.
He was 0 of 3 in Game 7,
Yep,
0 of 2
he
in
was.
Game 6, and
He
both of
was.
those were killer. But so all right, strength. Finishing at the rim is a weird one because I don't know how you improve that. You know what I mean? Like, I mean,
What do we think of his touch too? Do we think P-Watt has good?
No,
touch?
I don't
he has
think-
It
weirdly good
depends.
touch on that
Yes.
short jumper though.
Remember,
like,
remember
the
there was
8-footer.
a good chunk of the season where all of a sudden Peyton Watson could not miss a mid-range shot, and we were like, "Oh my god!"
I
dude.
think you're doing a little work calling it a big chunk of the season.
It was a bigger chunk than I expected. I mean, it was enough. It was enough for me to be because then he
Your
stopped
point
taking
is
them.
your point is that touch is like several things.
I think he's
I
got
do
it.
remember
around
that,
the
though.
rim.
I think it was just like
finishing,
3
zero
games.
touch.
But I remember it.
7, 8-foot mini jumpers, really
Right.
good touch. 3-point shot, no touch. So it's like,
I know, but he actually has decent touch. I think he's just like really like.
yeah, he's
doesn't-
gangly.
He's gangly. He doesn't. He seems still like a Great Dane puppy. Like
Yeah,
he's
he
still,
does.
it really
Yep.
seems like he's going to grow into his body. When you look at P. Watt, you're just like that guy has to. In his final form, he needs to look like Amen Thompson. Like
Yeah.
he needs to be that long, that rangy, but also strong enough and in control enough. There's a lot of times like when
The good news is they're the same age.
yeah. Well,
Are they really?
22.
yeah, oh yeah, but I'm not saying like he needs to like Amen Thompson came into the league with a man's body. Like he just showed up ready
Yeah.
to go. P. Watt is not the case. Like he still clearly has growing to do. And you can just see he's like not always in great control of his body. He doesn't
Yeah.
have great body control.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably a lot of that is just like you have to like your internal strength has to develop. And some of that is just by growing older.
But I think it's
he
fair
needs
to say he
facilitate
should have
it.
been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, but he needs to. He
Yeah.
just needs to get to that place where he is, like, he should be physically intimidating, and he's not currently.
I still have a lot of faith in Peyton Watson as a prospect. I just
sure.
still think that he has, and the last piece for me would be, I think he has to be better at the corner three, and I think he'll continue to work on it. But to me, unlike Christian, he's a guy that I actually do think has a more like slashing chops. Because it has long strides and he is a pretty good passer. He's made some good like
Yeah.
on the move passes. He hasn't explored that part of his game very much. And this is where I think it could be that Adelman trusts him to do it. But to me, this is where Denver has to invest in it. In a playoffs, what are you going to have Peyton Watson do? Is it just stand in the corner? I don't know if that's like a winning game. But is there some way that you could, like, think about it this year. You had Michael Porter and you had Jamal Murray. You had no other floor spacers.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be nice if you could run Peyton Watson pick and roll where those guys are off ball, even if it's not like that's not our offense, but that's our initiator, that's our dummy action to get things moving.
He can make choices with
He can
the
make
ball.
choices. He just sets the table
Yeah.
because also he's going to have the weakest defender on him. So can you do stuff? And to me, that's where you have to invest in it. But I actually think there is untapped potential in Peyton. And here's the kicker: you could trade him. I don't know if he has a ton of trade value right now. Your better bet in terms of the upside play is that Peyton Watson makes a huge leap this year.
I know.
And so this whole idea of get this man off my team, there's a lot of people that hate Peyton Watson. Get him off my team.
Everybody hates everybody.
I'm like, what are you getting for Peyton Watson if you get him off your team right now?
Good question. Not a lot, probably.
I know.
But you can get a lot from him if you can commit to him.
His value to Nuggets is definitely more than what he gets.
Here's the other thing, man. AG went out. He started for a while. Nuggets did great. I know it's regular season. I'm not saying he's better than AG. But it does show you that playing with Jokić, giving him these other types of minutes, it's like there is an upside to that that's worth investing in. It just never has had the sustain. And a lot of it's on him. I'm not trying to say.
No, you're right. It is a balance, right? I mean, I think like obviously this is well litigated. Malone was trying to win some games. Calvin drafted one of the biggest projects you'll see.
like 2 points a game in
like
college.
Peyton's a project, man, right? And so that was some of the sort of like that was incongruent right off the bat, right? And so there was something. So I do think it's both things. Like I think Calvin Booth drafted a player that wasn't ready to help Jokić win games off the bat. I do think he entered a system that was trying to be more win now, despite being fed win later pieces into the machine. So like there is a balance here, right? Like all these teams have more picks than Denver. They're more committed to player development. I think that's true. They have coaches more committed to it. I think that's true. I also think Booth is kind of not drafted the best players. Like you just player development's part of it, but you like watch Terrence Shannon Jr. and you're like, oh yeah, that guy's ready to play.
That guy's better.
That guy's ready to play. Right. And like the Wolves deserve credit for that, but also I think he was just ready to play. So it's both of these things to Adam's point, I think.
We have a third break, Teal?
Yes.
We'll get to it in a second. I'm going to move on here then. I am very interested. I think Peyton Watson will be the greatest bellwether, though, to the difference between Malone and Adelman, if it's overstated or any of this, because I do think that Malone put him in a tough spot over these last years. If Adelman puts him in there, it's like maybe there's a reason for it. You know, like maybe
there's just players like that. That archetype exists in the NBA and can be really successful.
What archetype?
Like a Jaden McDaniels. Like
it's big like they're super valuable.
That's what I mean. Like a big stretch. If you want to call him a 3 and D,
they drafted him.
I know exactly. That's what I'm saying. It's like to give up on that archetype of player at this stage, it would be
Jaden McDaniels. Silly. He's damn good, man.
I know.
Amen Thompson, Asar Thompson. There's just a lot of guys that if you have that build, he's like thicker. Tari Eason's way stronger. He's like more of a power forward than a small forward type. But there are a lot of them, and it's like even Derek Jones Jr., who's a little bit taller, I think. But it's an archetype of he's really athletic and really long. So naturally his defensive floor is really high, and it's just good. Yeah. Again, if you're I think people get frustrated because of how much Denver was reliant on Peyton Watson. He was their 7th guy, and they had no other alternatives. But I think that he would be nice to be one of your 10 guys that you're able to go to because he's extremely valuable as one of the options, and Denver needs that.
Yep.
Let's go quickly to one other one, just that's a little bit of a shorter time. Let's do Jalen Pickett since we only have 3 minutes here.
You want to ISO here?
No, I just here's the thing, man. Here's how I feel about Pickett. I think he can be a really good backup point guard for the Nuggets, but the Nuggets need athleticism on ball. This is what Russ brought. And as much as I love Pickett,
he can't get by anybody.
He only works. I think Pickett can make the second unit run. This is my crazy take in the regular season. I agree. But he would have to be surrounded not just with athletes, but you have to also have an athlete that can handle. And right now, that's not Julian Strawther. That's not Peyton Watson. I don't think it's DaRon Holmes. And so my worry is you get into a playoff series and it's like Case and Wallace, go full court press Pickett. It takes 15 seconds to get the ball at court and there's no alternative.
Yeah. Ideally, you want somebody with a little more athleticism. You know, if you're thinking about the guys that are going to be around him. Like you could play Pickett there, but then you need athletes and ball handlers at the 2, 3, 4.
Yep.
You know? And I don't know if the Nuggets are going to have that off their bench next year.
Peyton Watson's one. DaRon Holmes is athletic if he ends up playing.
But you also need guys that can get to the rim and beat their guy off the dribble.
Yeah.
And I'm with you. I think Pickett can run the offense. I think he can be, the classic game manager, backup point guard, the Monte Morris type.
Yeah.
I just wonder if they need somebody more dynamic there with the ball.
The thing is, Pickett had a good year, and he didn't play until game 49.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I mean? Like, we went half a year without him playing at all.
He was in the G League.
And now you sit and look and go like, hey, it was encouraging the back half of the year. There was
he had some great moments, man.
I think Pickett can play in an NBA rotation. I do. I think it's really more about those other questions of what is this rotation and is it built to maximize him, and is that something you should be concerned about?
What about his rate of growth, D-line? He made a lot of progress this year. Is it like, hey, next year, new coach, is a fresh start for him, and then you're just in the rotation every night? This is not a thing where you're looking over your shoulder. It's like you're the backup point guard. Could it be like, hey,
Pickett's weird because I actually felt really confident in him at season's end. And then I just couldn't imagine a scenario putting him into a playoff game
because of how intense the defense was.
I just couldn't. I couldn't imagine it any. And even as I imagine his skill getting better, I just can't imagine him being the guy in a playoff game. It just doesn't seem it just seems
the
like
game is so fast.
It seems like you could just trap him and like just get him into big trouble. I still believe in his shooting. I still think, like Vogt says, he is most assuredly an NBA level player. I don't really see it for the Nuggets anymore. And I don't know, man. I just don't see it. I don't, because I feel like our offense with our starting unit is slow and plodding, but that's because you have Jokić playing at the same speed that Pickett has, which is why you aptly referred to him as like a mini Jokić like style player. I don't know that you can do it at this level if you're not tall enough to see over your defenders.
It's Jalen Brunson does.
Jalen Brunson is really fast and really like jerky. I can't imagine Jalen Pickett getting around guys like Jalen Brunson does. Like, I don't know, man.
Jalen Brunson he's got a little quick twitch.
He's got a lot of quick twitch, and he's a tough finisher. And like Jalen Pickett's really good. I don't know, man. I just if I was the front office, I would be looking to find a team that's on the rise that could use steady leadership and try to broker a trade with them for him.
One thing I'll say, and then we have to go to break here. One thing I'll say about Pickett, you look at the Pacers, man. Why are they good? Why are they up in their series right now?
I literally don't know. I have no clue.
Because they have several players with super high IQ. And the more you put them together, the more it's like, if we had one Jokić, it's awesome. If you have two, it's incredible. If you have 4 or 5, they have like 6 of them.
You're not wrong.
And it's like, man, and so this is my hope with a guy like Pickett is you could start to build in these lineups where teams are trying to trap you. And you have the guys that, yes, they're slow, yes, they're this, but they're like, well, I know how to break this. 2 on him, I release, I know where the ball goes quickly, and it's like, boom, we're just getting open stuff every time. It's a long shot. This is the one. I obviously love Pickett, and I hope he comes back, and I hope he plays, but I agree with you that it is hard to see him going up against Case and Wallace and some of these guys at Caruso who are just insane and how physical and fast they are. But at least there's a path to it. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, we'll get into DaRon Holmes and Julian Strawther.
And we know a lot about DaRon Holmes. We saw him play for one half of one summer league game. So we got some. I've got some takes to get off.
A year ago today.
Hey, you sat next to him, dude. What are you talking about?
That's right, dude. That's right.
Toyota is the official vehicle of DNVR, and man, Toyota, they've got everything: cars, trucks, SUVs, whatever you need. Toyota's got it. Are you conquering off-road trails? Are you hauling the weight of the world? They've got 17 models available all-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, like the Epic 4Runner.
Dude, have you guys seen all of the new Toyotas now? They're all out, the 2026s?
Yeah, they're out, man.
Updated, man. I'll tell you what, updated. The grills on the RAV4s, unbelievable. First of all, they've done a little facelift there. Looks very, very cool.
Nice.
And then they have the giant screen. Honestly, it's like the size of my computer laptop. That's how big the new touchscreen is. Honestly.
Like that other car company.
That's all the car companies now. We're entering a new phase.
But a lot of them go with like they're small. You can tell they go cheap on it. Toyota did it right, man. They're like very, very nice.
Are you still trying to sell me a Toyota? I'm in.
Visit your front range Toyota stores at a location near you. AutoNation Toyota, Raplin, Centennial, Corwin, Toyota, and Boulder.
I took my Toyota up to Leadville this weekend, man. I love Leadville.
Leadville's a great
dude.
spot,
It's a great. Actually, nobody go there.
And when you show up,
it's still pure.
When you show up, it turns into Ludditeville.
Oh,
nice, dude.
Mountain States Toyota in Denver, Stevenson Toyota East Aurora, Stevenson Toyota West, and Lakewood. Toyota is a proud partner of the Denver Nuggets and the official vehicle of DNVR. Let's go places.
It's almost June. Thursday, June 5th is the 7th annual UC Health Healthy Swings Charity Home Run.
How do I
Derby.
get into this? I bet I could hit 0 to 1 home runs.
Like as a contestant. And here is local Denver man, D-Line Co.
I'm like, move out of the way, Cortland Sutton. You've had to stop hogging the box.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Broncos players like Cortland Sutton, Alex Singleton, and Marvin Mims will be stepping up to the plate at Coors Field to raise some money. I mean, someone's got to do something cool at Coors Field, right?
Somebody.
UC Health has donated over $900,000.
Maybe one of them will get signed to a contract.
Just to be clear, we're not raising money for the Monforts, right? Like every other.
To be very clear,
okay,
again, another apt question, Eric. Let's explain that. UC Health has donated over $900,000 to local charities, over 6 iterations of them supporting Coloradans with food insecurity, cancer screenings, veterans' mental health challenges. In other words, the opposite of giving the Monforts your money.
Thank God.
This year's beneficiary, Freedom Service Dogs. Freedom Service Dogs provide service dogs to individuals with limited mobility, young adults with autism, veterans, and first responders to help with disabilities like PTSD, traumatic brain injuries, and more. DNVR Nuggets is brought to you by UC Health, the official healthcare partner of the Denver Nuggets. Go to uchealth.org for more info. UC Health, live extraordinary.
All right, last segment here, the DNVR Nuggets podcast, and we have two very important players. We're going to start with Julian Strawther. I'm going to start with the bad. Minus 4.5 box plus minus, and it felt like that to me this year. By far the worst of any of the rotation players. Next worst, Peyton Watson at minus 1.8. So minus 4.5 is the advanced metrics are capturing when he was on the court, the team is getting murdered, and he's not putting up very efficient stats. Then you look at the three-point shooting, what he's known for, 35%. They are tough shots. He's kind of a gunner. I always said if the Nuggets could get through this year, I thought he would be valuable in the coming years. They had to rely on him more than I would like. He did win him a playoff game, which was awesome. So, it's at least possible. But to me, he is another guy where I look at last year, it was all about Peyton Watson. Next year, I think is going to be about that too. But I'm hoping he starts from a higher floor. Next year might all be about Julian Strawther. Is he a real playoff player next year? Not a hold your breath and hope he makes threes, but a guy that you can just count to be a rotation guy. And he was off tonight, but he gave you some other stuff. To me right now, it's hard to imagine him being a positive impact player in a playoff game if he's not making shots. I think he has to make himself that next year.
Yeah, for sure. And he's got to make himself that by getting better at the other areas of his game. He does still need to become a better shooter.
Yeah.
For a guy who's regarded as a quote unquote shooter, he's not a very good one.
Yeah.
He has some great, he looks great at times, and at other times he's throwing up air balls.
Misses are
It's actually
scary.
crazy how bad some of his misses are. But then again, he can win you a playoff game with his shooting. We just saw that. But for me, it's more about the other parts of his game, really. It's about his defense. Can he defend without fouling? Can he be trusted on the defensive end of the floor right now? Because I didn't really feel like there's a lot of trust there with the Nuggets and him on that end. He's got to get better at most facets of his game.
I agree. First of all, I disagree with the chat. I do think he absolutely helped them win that game. A lot of the quotes after the game reflected that from
People said he didn't help them
the
win
core
it?
players. I'm not trying to. I'm just going to push back and say I really do think he helped them win that game.
How did you say that?
Well, I think he's saying
That's
he didn't,
the guy!
No, I think
What?
he's saying didn't win them the game. But
That's the guy.
That's your guy.
That's him.
That's the guy.
The guy that told me that.
That's why he's saying this is personal.
That's the guy.
I see.
I wouldn't say he won him a game, but he was all right. I just wouldn't give D-Line this, really.
Oh my god.
He's never going to let you have it.
I think you guys are right on the more pertinent points, honestly. I think you guys are right about rounding out his game. David Adelman had that great quote after game 6. He didn't want to talk about the shot making. He said it was his defense, dude. He's like, if he doesn't play defense and we have to change our scheme, I can't keep him on the floor. But he did, and they closed with him. So I think Julian, I think Julian's coachable. I think Julian gets it. I don't think Julian's offended if a coach says your defense needs to be better. He probably says you're right. I think, though, he also needs to be actualized as a shooter to justify a lot of these things. I think Julian Strawther can be a 40% shooter in the league. Right now he's a 35% shooter in the league. Let's close that gap.
I do think Julian has a very good base skill set.
Yeah, he can grow on from
He
it.
can do everything average to below average, but he can still do a little of everything,
Yeah.
He can get to the rim. Doesn't always look great, but he can do it.
He tries to. He tries to put his head down and get there.
I think he's a smart player, although he still looks a little out of sorts defensively at times. It looks like it's still a little too fast for him.
Yeah, he's slow reacting.
Yeah.
I feel
but I think he knows the game.
Did he miss time his first year and his second year? Has he cobbled together just one full NBA season yet?
He had a long run though to this year.
I just mean in general, he makes a lot of what look like rookie mistakes to me still all the time.
Sure.
The second he gets in, he commits a foul almost immediately. He fouls 3-point shooters. He loses control of his body all the time. He is not at all reliable in a variety of circumstances. And I think he can be so much better. And I kind of am betting on it. I think his shot is... we have so many shooters that can't shoot. He's we have so many great shooters that just can't make a basket. But I don't know, man. I think Julian's got a little something. I think he should. The pizzazz, the chutzpah
He likes his chutzpah, huh?
that he showed in
He's got some swag.
in the playoffs specifically.
He's got
like
aura.
that was a big game.
Yeah, it
that
was
was an elimination game.
And he had the nice little tight dribble through, split the defense to get to the layup, which was, to me, that's the other part of his game. I've talked about Peyton adding a handle and this or that. I think that Julian can be a ball handler who attacks off the dribble a little bit more. This year to me was his fake it till you make it year.
Yeah.
Like he was playing like he was capable of something he wasn't.
Totally.
Which is its own skill. But your hope is that next year he actually is capable of those
up
things.
to it.
So
Yeah.
Because there was
Yeah,
a lot
the
of
make
like
it part.
he faked it. Now he needs
Right
to
now
make
he's
it.
shoot it till he makes it, which is not that often.
And I think somewhat predictably, by the way, Game 6 at home was awesome. Like Game 7, they tried to play him. He was so shook, right? So there's the development part of this still of, although I will say Strawther's the one guy I think outside of injuries that Malone, Booth, like, all right, I'll play this guy. I think this guy has something. So we'll see what Adelman thinks.
100%. I saw some people on the timeline saying that, that was the Malone guy, not the Booth guy. That was definitely they collaborated on that one. Malone did not want other guys. He didn't want to keep adding young guys.
But there was common ground on Strawther, I think.
Which you can understand. So just to recap, we'll get to DaRon Holmes, Zeke Naji tomorrow. I guess we can pair them together because in some ways maybe they're competing. Maybe they're together. I don't know. But just to recap, I think... well, sure, if we want
tomorrow?
to. Yeah, we'll get to that tomorrow. Stay tuned. Christian Braun, we expect to make modest improvements, but he was really good this year. So,
Bro, I'm not putting
significant?
I'm putting no lids on this man until he shows me I shouldn't. I've learned my lesson. I've seen guys that just get better and better, and I've seen guys that bottom out right away. His jump was so stark.
Yeah, he made a big one this year.
It was remarkable, his jump. So I'm not ready to say he's done developing.
I do
Plus
think
that haircut, dude.
I will say this though about Christian.
might be the hair.
All these other guys feel like they're trying to like prove it to the team. I think Christian's over that hump, and that's a big mental hump.
It is.
When you're trying to prove it to everyone else. Christian's one of the guys now to where it's like you don't have to prove anything.
He's
man.
in the core.
We know who you are.
Part of the core.
Peyton Watson, I think there's a chance that he makes a sizable jump, but there's also a chance he doesn't make any. And he's a huge wild card here. But I think I am going to bet on Peyton Watson being meaningfully better. Julian Strawther, I think, will be better than he was this year, but I still think he projects to be an 8th guy in a rotation. And if you're counting on him to be the 7th guy, I think Denver's in trouble. They probably need to add at least one vet that is a buffer between your top 5, maybe 6 if Peyton's there, and then the next guys, which would include Julian. So if Julian's your 7th guy, I just think you're in a tight spot next year. But I think he could be I think he could be very good as the 8th or 9th guy next year if Denver builds properly. And then Jalen Pickett, we're unsure of, but we think competent. I mean, in the regular season, competent point guard that doesn't ruin games for you, which is not nothing in the regular season.
Can I tell you what I would do quickly? My elevator pitch, how I'm fixing the Nuggets. I am trading Julian Strawther. I'm trading Jalen Pickett. I am attempting to trade Hunter Tyson.
For this, though?
I want
Andre
ring chaser
Iguodala.
guys. I want vets that are. Listen, I've not done any of the legwork here, but just philosophically, like I'm looking for teams that are really, truly starting to rebuild and that have like the Hawks or something like that have like older guys. They have no business. They're not going anywhere with them. I would look at the Raptors. I would look at like squads like that, the Kings that aren't going anywhere and kind of see if they have like a vet or two that maybe doesn't get the run that they deserve or what, you know.
Are you back to the depth problem though? Because you just traded 2 rotation guys for 1.
I want to first up free up roster spots for guys. Like I don't think that there's enough time to develop these guys and win as many championships as possible for the Denver Nuggets. I'm just like loading up on like guys that are true or that are tried and true and trying to take advantage of teams that are.
I just think it's hard to load up. Like that's the word load up is the one carrying all the work here. Because I think Denver can add 1 or 2 of those guys. I think it gets unrealistic when you're like, if Denver going to add 4 rotational veterans in an offseason,
I don't know. I mean, I have to see what I just mean. Like I'm kind of out on the development of those guys specifically.
Okay, Strawther,
Pickett, Tyson,
Watson.
Watson, I'm 50-50 on. If they can get a good deal for Watson, Christian and Peyton are the 2 that I'm like, okay, those are the guys that I think that are going to be turned into guys. Like Strawther, I'm 50-50 on, but I kind of don't want to
go through it.
I don't want to go through it right now.
You don't want to have the January where he's in a rut and it's like, dang it, what happened?
I kind of just I want to get a bunch of Jeff Greens, like guys near the end of their career that can play.
All right, if you guys are enjoying the show, we're going to go to Superchats now on the Overtime on the internet. Thanks for watching our Fast channel.
Speaking of the Kings, did you see that trade rumor from Paul Pierce?
No, what was it?
I threw it in the Slack. Nobody said anything.
I didn't know what it was. I didn't,
Paul Pierce, out of nowhere. I mean, it's not a trade rumor. He just said this. Paul Pierce out of nowhere said the Nuggets should trade Porter for DeMar DeRozan.
Man, it's so weird to me.
But
DeRozan?
how does he just think of that out of the blue?
Yeah.
How does Paul Pierce just come up with that specific
Monica.
I don't know. That was a little weird to me.
I'll tell you right now, that's a guy that would help your bench, like as a starter playing with the bench.
DeMar
That's a guy that
DeRozan.
could go get a
It's
bucket.
just kind of weird that he threw that specific trade.
The Nuggets have 2 shooters. We were like, what if we had one?
I know. You're like, okay, so the one thing Mike does do is space the floor. DeRozan won't do that. He will score, though.
The Mike conundrum. We have to do a whole.
I think
we need to do weeks and weeks on the
I
Mike
think it's
conundrum.
been the last 2
Well, we got
seasons.
some. I know, but it's even more of a
know.
conundrum
It
now
is. It
because, well, we're going into a new paradigm. We don't know if he's going to. Whatever.
All right, what do we
gonna
have? Super chats here.
Ah,
Oh, did we mention the Russell Westbrook news yet, by the way?
Surgery on his hand.
Surgery on his hand broke in 2 places. He put that out in his newsletter today, so that was not from the team.
Kind of wild.
we
Long time
were,
ago.
yeah, we were noticing very clearly. Dev pointed out every single time he could only finish with the left, and so
Yeah.
that seems to be in keeping with this news.
Okay, let's do the super chats. Ryan B, the Thunder have developed guys. The Nuggets developed P. Watt into Jared Vanderbilt with hops. He has to improve his offense to play in the NBA long term.
Oh, by the way, the guys playing meaningful playoff minutes right now include Thomas Bryant.
There's just
I think he's out of the rotation, actually.
Yeah, he played early in the series though,
know,
like meaningful
now he's
minutes.
out.
Well, it's still
I
something.
know.
It's still something.
You're
Yeah, yeah.
The
absolutely
worst,
right.
most useless backup point guard who was averaging 20 a game for LA comes
Center,
here is
yeah.
terrible. Now he's in the conference finals.
it is.
There is a
crazy.
pattern here.
Hartenstein.
Michael
Vanderbilt.
Malone leaving actually allows us to trade for a backup center at the next year's deadline. So that's something to look forward to. We're back on that.
There's absolutely something to this, right?
There's something to
absolutely
it.
something to it.
And then on the flip side, there's all the guys that played a lot of minutes that go leave Denver and are terrible. KCP obviously had a down year. Gary Harris fell off a cliff. Like there's also
Anyone that goes to the Magic.
Bruce
I know.
Brown somehow became nothing.
He's not a good player anymore.
And I mean, Hartenstein, he was just good. We know that.
Yeah, he was good,
He was
man.
good.
yeah, but he wouldn't stop fouling. I digress.
He still fouls.
He never made that
He's still
floater
fouled.
once in Denver.
Not
either.
one time.
He was
Dude,
0 for 50. I
Really?
tracked it.
No.
It was releasing dead doves
Yeah,
every
they
time.
all
he played.
died.
The same amount of minutes as Dario Saric.
It's disgusting what he's done.
Tough trade as a backup center, though, is picking up 3 fouls in 2 minutes. I will say.
God
It's not
damn
like-
it.
Okay, let's go back to the super chats. Maddox's optimism. With a new coaching direction, I think the likes of P. Watt, Strawther, Najee, and Pickett will develop fast without the
Dude,
balloon
we
versus
shamed
Blue.
Maddox so hard for his negative comment that now he's just all positive.
Damn.
I will tell
Shout
you,
out
if they
Maddox.
do, if the Nuggets do find a lineman, I do think we will all feel it next year. I really believe that. I just think
I think you're right.
I think that this is the big thing we felt all the year
Well,
was like
it's the thing that sucked the most about this whole thing. It's like we just we wasted so much time, dude. We
know.
didn't develop anybody or whatever.
yeah, all right.
Oliver Classic. You dismissed my comment before Game 6.
Let's
I remember
dismiss
that,
this.
Oliver.
Yeah, dude.
There's a lot of comments, man. Where I
That
said
comment sucked.
where I said that Nuggets need a deeper bench and that the main
Wrong.
problem is MPJ and Murray overpaid contracts.
Nope.
Consistent second star and bench depth keep some guys at a few pieces.
I mean, dude, no,
yeah.
we've talked about this a million
You're
times.
not
I don't,
wrong, man.
Yeah, I don't know how you could say we ignored it. Of course, we've talked about this.
How do you
They
move?
have 2 max contracts that they signed a long time ago. I know Murray just got the extension, but even last year that was a contract a long time ago. Yes, that's very difficult.
It is part of the problem.
It's part
But
of the problem.
especially when one of them has a torn rotator cuff.
Or the other one, yeah.
Is that the injury?
No.
I don't know, but probably.
To be clear,
I was
shoulder
thinking
strain.
too. I was like, torn rib.
That's
I
like
didn't
a
know that.
6-month read.
That's what I'm like. Sure, he did
I think
something.
it was AC joint.
It was a
It was
sprain.
grade 2
That's
sprain,
my hypothesis.
Which is, by the way, a 6-week injury. All right, here we go.
It doesn't help if you put a diaper on it either.
All right, I'll talk about that
Might
off
need to
the air.
rethink that approach.
Mr.
Medical staff.
Exquisite Nugget. Vote. How do you feel about Pacers versus Knicks? Indiana in 5. I feel like if the Knicks win this series, this game tonight, it won't be Indiana in 5. How about that? Not very
Fun,
helpful.
that's such a fun series. I love the Pacers. I'm a fan, man. I love high IQ hoops. They're the only positive outcome remaining in my
Dude,
opinion.
if you take sort of narratives and agendas and like what you want out of it, just like as a basketball fan,
Do you like watching the Pacers
they
play?
clearly
Yes.
are playing the most appealing brand of basketball.
It's freaking
Clearly.
fun as hell, man.
Clearly. King Joseph, I thought Russ played above his contract. Yes or no? Yes.
Yes,
of course.
Lowest
Russ was a
minimum.
good signing.
Absolutely.
The
Russ was a-
lowest possible contract.
Russ was a good signing, man. Like
It was an amazing
No,
signing.
Full stop. Yeah, full stop. We we are supportive of it.
But
Benjamin,
quickly, I'm sorry. I don't.
Here it comes.
I hate viewing players through the lens of their contract.
I know.
Yeah,
It's
I
the
do
worst.
too.
It's the worst way of looking at a basketball player.
I agree. Once you're here, you're just
you're
on
just
the team.
in, like,
you're
yeah,
either
dude.
You're
contribute
just
or
trying
not.
to win, man.
It doesn't
Right.
matter how much he made. It's like, did he mess up a lot when at big moments? Yes. Did he also win us some games? Yes. Are you willing to go through that again? Me personally, not particularly, but I'm sure I'm going to.
dude, that was almost so good for our Westbrook Street score. Almost. Benjamin Talamai-Vow. Thoughts on Trey Alexander, G League Rookie of the Year?
My thing on Trey is this. You have Pickett, you have Trey. They're both slow. And so, like, you're not going to be able to keep both of them. I think Pickett's going to be a better point guard for you. Trey, if you had a point guard, might be a better secondary ball handler or something.
He's the second coming of Jamal. He looks like him. He's going to be Jamal.
The Nuggets need speed
got
on this
some Jamal
roster,
in him.
man. I just don't think any that. I'm worried about.
I think he's a
here's
shot
what I
maker.
think is Denver has their starting five, and then you're going to have Peyton Watson for sure to me as your bench. So now you need to fill out. You need like a point guard. You need somebody who can get into the paint. You need a backup center. There's just only so many spots. And so Trey Alexander, a lot of these guys, you go, they don't check any of those boxes. They're nice players, but
Yeah.
I like his skill set. I like the idea of Trey Alexander for sure. I just have a really hard time envisioning him being good next year.
we get Trey Alexander on the Summer League roster this year or not?
I think we do. I think we should.
Trey and DaRon would be that's fun enough.
Yeah,
I
that's
was worried
super fun.
about Summer League not being interesting this year. That's enough for me to be into it.
I think they should.
That's another guy though that this
Hunter
is.
Tyson again.
This is a moment where you could probably
guy,
has
Hunter.
more
Nugget.
trade value just being like, guys, this is the G League Rookie of the Year. I mean,
Yeah.
that's like
Trey
a,
Alexander has zero trade value, man. I'm sorry.
I don't know.
Also, he's on a two-way.
Yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I like the idea of him, but I don't know.
Yeah, there's Nuggets have boxes to check, and he doesn't check one, even if he's a nice player.
Is it something you're prioritizing right now?
Unless you want to back
Yeah.
up to it, he's great at it.
King Joseph again, more on the same point we just agreed with. Russ won about 9 games starting when Jamal was hurt, helped win the Clippers series. Isn't that enough for a $1 million contract bench player?
Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Well framed? Agreed. Flacco
absolutely.
Watts. Are these offseason shows scheduled at a certain time? 2:15 Flacco for the rest of the
Mountain time.
For Mountain Time for the rest of the offseason. 2:15. Stick with us. Nick Bevilacqua. Appreciate the continued great Nugs coverage, boys. Context,
man.
Nick. Thank
Appreciate
you.
it.
Needed that, buddy.
Positive,
I know.
Yeah,
Everybody, I feel like we all had to just go away mentally a little bit and regroup. Look at the big picture. What are we trying to do here? We're creating a community, and the community doesn't stop when the Nuggets get robbed by the refs and thrown out of the playoffs in an unjust way that will never be forgiven by me or anyone else. And we come together and we
I'm already getting texts from Knicks fans. Pacers, really? Most appealing stat? Really?
David Adelman's having a introductory presser at Ball Arena tomorrow.
Should be very interesting, man. I'm
he's
excited
like,
to see that.
you
That
may
tells
remember me
me-
from last season and for 10 seasons before.
I mean, that doesn't really tell me this, but they got to decide on a GM soon, right?
I think so.
I feel like it's maybe decided.
I was gonna say,
not
I think-
announced.
I think, yeah, they just
Maybe
have to
decided
announce
it.
it.
I don't
They
know.
definitely have to keep up appearances here. Like,
Yeah.
man, we're looked here.
I
here.
think
it was
that
Ben
the
Tender the whole time. He was just
Owner
like-
and Governor Stan Kroenke, as well as the vice chairman, Stan Kroenke, as well as the vice
Get it
chairman,
right.
Josh Kroenke,
Get it right.
Thank you, Adam.
probably have to decide on interim general manager Ben Tenzer soon.
Well, we now know that interim head coach David Adelman has been promoted
that's
to
true.
Nuggets head coach.
Also, Tommy Balchettis not interim.
No, assistant
Assistant
general
general
manager.
He is the assistant.
Yeah.
Tommy Balchettis, assistant general manager.
But
Yeah.
but he's an assistant to no one.
Great point.
He's the assistant. Is he not the assistant to the interim general manager?
I don't think so. I think you'd have to be the interim assistant.
All right.
That's a good
Guys,
point.
Thanks for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
We'll see you tomorrow.
So
We all silly like the mayor.